We are in geometry, lesson 1-7, advanced reflections. Today's date is Tuesday, September 8th, 2020. Objective, who's doing it today? Who's reading the objective for us? Jade, go for it.
Determine lines of reflection and reflect shapes over horizontal and vertical lines.
There it is. So basically the same as last time, 1-6 from Friday. So some more vocab. Line of reflection. After drawing a line segment between the source and the image, again, source is the start. So if you don't like the word source, this is the start and the image. It's kind of like the end after the transformation. The line of reflection will be what? And I don't know, you know this word, it means 90 degrees, but it's like the fancy word. This one I think is going to be new for us. What's the word that means 90 degrees, Charles?
Perpendicular?
There it is. So everyone write down perpendicular. And then this one is, I don't know, maybe someone knows it. It means cut in half equally into two congruent pieces. Charles again, yeah.
Didn't you say this in like algebra or something? Isn't it equilateral or something?
Not quite,
No?
yeah. So equilateral just means that equal sides.
Okay.
But if it's just perfectly in half, it's called bisecting. So it's a perpendicular bisector. So if you want to draw just a mini picture over here on the left, or anywhere that you have room. So if you have some start, some source, and some image, some end, and then you connect those two with a straight line. So let me just use, I don't know, black, I guess. So a straight line that connects those two. That's not the straightest of lines. But the line of reflection will be the one that is perpendicular. So that means that if I have some sort of other line, let me do maybe a red line here. That's my attempt at a line. This angle here should be 90 degrees. That means it's perpendicular. But it also, let me make this maybe a little bit better. It also needs to be a bisector, which just means that this piece and this piece are congruent to each other. They're the same length. That's what it means to be a bisector. It cuts it in half. So if you want to write under here, cut in half. That's what bisector means. And perpendicular, everyone knows that, I think now, but we'll say that's 90 degrees. Another way of saying that is it's the middle, I guess, for the bisector. Just thinking of all the synonyms to help us out here. Okay, so how do you find the line of reflection? So it's a little bit harder now because we're doing diagonal lines instead of just horizontal and vertical lines. So here's our procedure. So first you're going to find the, there's a fancy word that means middle. And it's not that fancy, I guess. Yeah, Hazy?
The midpoint?
There it is, yeah, midpoint. So everyone write down midpoint. I didn't know if I saw your hand twice. I'll call on you eventually, sorry. Midpoint between the source and the image. So find this point right here that we were drawing before. So find one point, find that midpoint, and then you're going to also find the midpoint for another pair. So as long as you find two different midpoints and then connect those two midpoints with a line, this line right here will always be the perpendicular bisector or the line of reflection. So lots and lots of midpoints today. And let's go ahead and discuss how do you find the midpoint, because it's easier said than done sometimes, especially when you're going diagonally instead of vertically or horizontally. So here's a fancy pantsy formula that you do not by any means need to memorize. I would much rather have you do the logic. I'll get to the logic down here. But let me scroll back up in case you miss anything. Yeah, so the formula is you add the x coordinates together, then divide by 2. That's the average of the x coordinates. You add the y coordinates and divide by 2. That's the average of the y coordinates. So another way of doing this formula is I can just say the average x, comma, average y. Those two coordinates will be the midpoint. So this is the more rigorous way of saying the average of x. Because average, as we all know, you just add all the numbers together and divide by the total number of numbers. Well, since there are two numbers, x1 and x2, I'm going to divide by 2. If I had x1, x2, and x3, I would divide by 3, but that doesn't make sense for a midpoint in 2 dimensions. If I had a midpoint in 3 dimensions, I would need a third coordinate. Okay, so let's try this out. And Ulysses, is your camera all right?
Yes, all right.
Very good. All right, so example number 1. We have our blue triangle, our source, A, B, C, and then the image, this red triangle, A prime, B prime, C prime. We need to find the line of reflection. And just, I'm curious, but with your cameras, show of hands, how many people are using graph paper right now? Kira and just Kira. Oh, kind of. Oh, because
Well, I have the notes.
you have the printed notes, that's right. So we have 2 people that have graph paper. It's so much easier with graph paper. I'm sorry for all those that don't have graph paper. Oops. Made a mistake up here. Yeah, so we need to choose 2 points and then find their midpoint. I'm going to do one of them for you. I'm going to choose the easiest one. Sorry, guys. You guys get to have the harder one. I'm going to choose C and C prime because they're the closest together. That's why I think that they're easier, personally. So I need to find what is the average between those two. And I know it's roughly around there, but I don't know, is it exactly there? Is it off to the side? Where is it exactly? I need to have the perfect point. So I'm going to find the total change in x and the total change in y. The typical way that we do that is we just draw like a line that goes straight down, a vertical line, and then we draw a horizontal line, kind of like a step. And I say, okay, my total change in x, the total distance that I went to the right, I went 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to say this is 4. And then I went down 2, so I'm going to say -2. And those are my x and y coordinates, right? So my -2 is my delta y, my change in y, and I guess I can make this here. I'm going to recolor code this thing to make this a little bit easier for our notes. So I'm going to do blue for my y. So my -2 is my change in y, and then I'll do red for my change in x. So delta x, I changed 4. So, and I take half of those, right? Because that's what it means to find the average. That's what it's saying up here. So what is the, this is not how to use the formula. This is a different way of doing it. Okay, I'll do both ways. There's many ways to do mathematics, right? So sorry that this is probably not the first way to show it. But yeah, if I changed 4, then take half of that. Half of 4 is 2. So I kind of make the halfway point right there. And then half of -2 is -1, and we get that point right there. It is that nice lattice point, 3, 5. So you can just take half of the change in y, half change in x. That's one way to do it. And then the other way of doing it is to actually use the formula up here. So the formula states, look at the x and y coordinates of each of these points. For example, the c coordinate over here is 5, 4, 5, 4. And the xy coordinates of c prime are 1, 1, 6. And I can just plug this into the formula. So if I'm looking at the c's, I guess, I'm doing the x coordinate 5 plus 1. That's 5 plus 1 up here, right? So 5 plus 1 divided by 2, comma. And then I'm going to do the y coordinates. The y coordinate is 4 and 6. I'm just adding those two together and divide by 2. So 4 plus 6 divided by 2. And that's the answer. So 5 plus 1 is 6 over 2, comma 10 over 2, which is 3, 5. And if you check out this point right here, it does indeed have the coordinates 3, 5. Yeah, what?
Mr. Sindel, is triangle A prime B prime C prime based off of the triangle triangle ABC?
Yes, it is based off of it. What do you mean by based off of, though?
Because I'm wondering why the change in y is -2 and the change in x is 4 and it's not -4 and +2.
Oh, yeah, I randomly picked a direction, but you're right. I should have gone the other way, huh? I should have been a -4 and a +2. It doesn't really matter so much because I was doing it purely picture-based, but you are 100% correct. I should have been going from the image or from the source to the image. Yeah, good correction. Okay, so I've shown you guys now 2 different ways of doing it. 1, just use the formula. 2, you can just look at the total change graphically and then take half of that change, and then you have the midpoint. So I want you guys to try doing another midpoint between either B and B prime or A and A prime, and it's going to be somewhere out here, but you need to find the exact coordinates. And because not all of us have graph paper, maybe the formula is the best way to do it, because the formula does not require you to even see the picture. It just requires, hey, what are the coordinates? And then just plug them in. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. Just flash me a thumbs up when you're ready to check. All right, so who wants to share their answer? And then you guys can either agree or disagree by thumbs up or thumbs down. Who hasn't really spoken yet today? I feel bad. I haven't called in a girl yet today, have I? Sorry, boys. It's the girl's turn. Some girl. Yeah, Kira.
I don't know if this is right, but I got 0,1 for B.
0,1 right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be the midpoint for B. How many other people just chose to try to find the midpoint between B and B prime by show of hands? Okay, so that means everyone else found the midpoint between A and A. Okay, actually, a lot of people try to find that one. Okay, give her the thumbs up or thumbs down. Is that the midpoint between B and B prime? I'm getting a lot of thumbs down. Uh-oh. Kira, do you want to see if you can find your mistake, or I'm getting a thumbs up from Emma too, though.
Yes, I can.
Is there someone that can maybe identify what the mistake might have been? Yeah, Jade.
So you tried to do the formula for midpoint, right?
Yeah.
Like not the, okay. So when you divided it by 2, I think you divided it by -2 and you got a positive 1, but it's supposed to be a -1. So you were right on the 1 part, but you just missed the sign in the front of it.
So should it be like 0, -1 for the answer?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do the formula way as well, so I have some room. So I have -4 and +4 for the x's divided by 2, and for the y's I have 1 plus -3 divided by 2. Putting those in parentheses gives us 0 divided by, and then 1 plus -3 is -2. -2 divided by a +2 is a -1. Which does go right there. Yeah, nice. Do you see the mistake, Kira? Is she here?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Give me a fist of 5 on how well you understand everything up to example number. Oh, we haven't even finished our problem. Let me finish the problem before I ask for the fist of 5. Remember, our steps are find midpoint, and then finally, I guess this is kind of a hidden step 3. You need to connect the points with a line, which we have not done yet. So let's go ahead and connect those points with a line. And I'm going to go ahead and attempt my sketch. It's going to come through here like that. There's our line of reflection. If you make it nice and thick, then you can't tell that you made a mistake, right? There's our line of reflection. And with Khan Academy, it's digital. Like you just drag around this point, and then you'll get the right answer. Okay, now we've found the line of reflection, and we can kind of eyeball it. If this black line right here was a mirror, then yeah, that looks like we mirrored or reflected our blue source to our red image. All right, fist of 5 now. How well do you understand everything through example 1? I'm getting 5s, 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 4, no 5, 4.5. Asha, Emma, where you guys at? Girls at? 4, 3, 4. All right, cool. I think we'll be able to maybe clarify anything left over with our final example. Actually, we have 2 more examples, don't we? Oh, because example 3 is tricky. Cool. So let's try example 2 on our own. I'm going to put you guys in breakout rooms so you guys can work on this on your own. Raise your hand if you need more time to copy down example number 2. All right, so I'm going to pause here until everyone gives me a thumbs up, and then I'll do breakout rooms. By the way, the homework on Khan Academy, I put up a week's worth of homework, which is only 4 days because Monday we had off. So if you want to go ahead and start the homework because you finished the notes early, by all means, go ahead and do that. But yeah, waiting until you guys copy this down so I can do breakout rooms. And then that's the average for the x's. The average for the y's is 6 and 0. So 6 plus 0 divided by 2. That's going to be -4 divided by 2, which is -2, 3. So -2, 3, -2, 3 is right here. And that is a lattice point. So A and A prime didn't give us a lattice point, and B prime should also give us a lattice point. Really quickly here, it's going to be -1, -3, and then B over here is 4, 2, 4, 2. So we have 4 plus -1 over 2, comma, 2 plus -3 over 2. And that's going to be, that doesn't come out very nicely either, does it? I guess we're going to have to go with C and C prime, yeah, because this is going to give us 1.5, comma, -1 or -0.5. Let's try C and C prime. You keep trying until you get nicer pairs, right? So C prime is -4, comma, -5, and I know I'm out of time. I have 30 more seconds. If you want to jump out of here in 30 seconds, go for it. I know that we have break after this. I don't want to keep you over. 6, comma, 5.
Should we do example 3?
Example 3, I'm going to have the video up from last year, I think, and just put that in there. And then the solution to the notes and stuff are already up on the website. For C and C prime, we have -4 plus 6 over 2 and 5 plus -5 over 2, which averages to 1, 0. 1, 0 is right here. So those 2 points we can connect here and here, and we get this line of reflection right there. I'm going to go ahead and record example 3, but you guys are all dismissed. I'll see you guys either later today or tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Sindel.
Yep, see you guys. All right, so for example number 3, reflection across the y-axis. If you remember, the shortcut for this is just flip the x. So for example, if I'm looking at A has coordinates -1, 1, so -1, 1. If I take the opposite of -1, I'll get +1, and that is my new coordinate. So 1, 1, and this is the point A prime. C has coordinates 4, 3. Take the opposite of 4, -4, and you get your answer. So -4, 3 up here, -4, 3. And that is our C prime. And then B prime, this, well, originally B was -5, 7, -5, 7. Take the opposite of the x coordinate, you get +5, +5, 7. And this is our B prime, which is 5, 7. Oop, that's not how you write it. 5, 7. And then connect them all with a straight line. So let's see how straight of a line I can do here. And there is our reflection.